Hey guys, welcome to our first webinar of 2011. My name is Dan Kalansky. I've got both Jim Bolger and Chris Amori on the line. We have quite an incredible webinar lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about Kaseya's patch management, specifically the patch management features in K2 and also on Kaseya's SaaS, which is really K2 also. So if you are using our hosted Kaseya on our K2 server, or if you are using Kaseya SaaS, and this is definitely the webinar for you. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Chris Amori. Chris is President of Virtual Administrator and also a real Kaseya guru. And then also later we'll be introducing Jim Bolger, who does pretty much all of our tech support. He is an incredible Kaseya genius would be the right word for it. And he's going to teach you everything that he does about patch management. So anyway, Chris, you've got the microphone.
Hey, Dan, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank everybody for attending. Happy New Year. Before we get started, I want to just do a couple things. We have got just a ton of stuff to talk about as we were preparing for this. I'm not even sure we can get this all done, in an hour. So one of the things I'd like to do real quick is just get a quick poll from you. If you can, I want to make sure, find out what version you're on to see where, how many people are on what server. And then I've got one other quick question for you, which is, have you been through any of my training before? Because what I'll do is I will cut back or add depending on what you guys say here and try to make it a little bit flexible. So we'll just give this just a few minutes, try to get everybody to answer, and then we'll flip over to the next one, and we'll get an idea.
And while we're waiting, just one thing I wanted to mention is that, while we're doing this webinar, feel free to ask as many questions as you like. We might not get to them immediately, but we're watching quite closely all the different questions that are on there.
Yep.
So,
Yep, Dan will, Jim, you guys know down in the question, there's a little box down there. Just type your question in, send it in. Anytime you think of it, Dan will field those, and he'll either jump in and ask them, or we do have a time at the end, hopefully, to answer them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this. Looks like most of you voted, and it looks like pretty much everybody, well, not everybody, but the vast majority are on the SaaS platform. Let me go ahead and close that one, and then I'm going to give you one more just to look at, and that is, hey, have you ever done any training with me? Either no training, or you've done the full session before. Remember, I've got a quick start that we just kind of go over the basics, and then the 2.5 hours is when we get into the details of the whole system. So for some of you, this might just be a refresher. All right, looks like we got pretty much everybody. All right, so a little bit more mixed there. About more than half of you. Yeah, it looks like pretty much more than half of you, 56%, haven't had any training, and then there's some that have gone through it. So, and then on the other poll, just go ahead and share with you, just so you can kind of guess where we're going. Most of you are on either the K2 server, which is our hosted server, or you're on the IT Center server. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is going to apply to the SaaS 2 server. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not good information for some of you that are on the other servers. Those of you on version 5, it'll still apply. A lot of the troubleshooting steps will still apply, but eventually you'll all be there. So it's good stuff to know, and we're going to save this, and you can go back and refer to it. Okay. All right. Super. Thank you so much for that. Basically, what we're going to try to do today is just cram in a whole bunch of information. We're going to do a quick review of the 4 steps of patch management. Those of you that recently been through full training, you can probably grab a cup of coffee for a few minutes while we go through that. We want to talk about some different patch strategies that you might consider. We're going to talk about how we research and approve patches, and ways that you guys can do that as well. And what do we do when we can't apply patches through Kaseya? There are some patches that aren't able to be applied through Kaseya. And we're going to talk a little bit about troubleshooting and some other things that pop up, best practices, and if we can get this done in a reasonable time period, we'll talk about some reporting as well.